Now then, folks, how we doing? It's James, JT at the movies, back for another video. Apologies, I've been away about 10 days off the platform. I've been responding to comments, but I've actually had a little bit of a holiday. Went away to Wales with my family, and so I haven't been at home to make movies. I thought about making the video that we're doing today here while I was away in Wales, but I didn't have the disc with me, and I thought that sort of doing it without the backdrop of the movie room and sort of in a caravan while there's the rest of my family trying to have a nice holiday wouldn't have really worked. So I thought, well, I'll save it until I get back. We got back yesterday, and here I am. If you clicked on this video, you've not come to hear about my trip to Wales, though it was fantastic. You've come to hear about my review of The Batman on 4K. So this isn't out in the United Kingdom yet where I am. It doesn't come out for another week or so at this point. But when this arrived nearly a couple of weeks ago for me, obviously we had a few weeks yet for it to wait. It's come from Amazon Italy as this disc. I was up one night, sort of couldn't sleep, feeling restless. And so decided to get out of bed and just, go and sit in another room and leave our last to sleep. Browsing the internet, and on Amazon Italy came across this, as quite a few of our blue tubing community have done as well. So I placed an order, and it said that it'd get with me by something like the 25th of May, and I thought, yeah, of course it will. Anyway, sure enough, it turned up, so I popped it in that very weekend to watch, and goodness me, this is a superb 4K. Now, I'm one of these guys where 4K, the jump from Blu-ray to 4K for me, I'm not as impressed as I am with the jump from DVD to Blu-ray. For a lot of things, I would gladly give the 4K a miss. This is not one of those films. But if you were wondering, should I get this on 4K or is the Blu-ray good enough? I would say, having had a skim through the Blu-ray and then having watched the full film on the 4K, that the 4K is definitely the way to go if you've the equipment and if you've the budget for it. The contrast of colours on this was absolutely superb. The sound design transferred brilliantly to the disc and came through my system absolutely wonderfully. It felt like there were, explosions here, there and everywhere, and the dialogue coming through it all wonderfully. And obviously a lot of this is set at night and is, artificially lit with street lights, and, the shadows and things like that play obviously a big part in any Batman story. And the sort of like the blacks and the contrast against the colours was incredibly crisp, and just the sharpness of the image, I was really blown away with how fantastic it looked on my TV. And whilst my TV is a 4K TV, it's not the best 4K TV in the world. So if it looked absolutely fantastic on a supermarket owned brand 4K TV, which is what mine is, then I'm sure with a Samsung or an LG or whatever, sort of an amazing TV sort of thing, this is going to look the absolute business. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed the film, and it was really great to rewatch it again. Obviously saw it in the cinemas opening weekend and thought about doing a review at the time. In fact, I think I might have even teased that I was going to do one on my Instagram. And it was one of those things where I just didn't get round to doing it because it's been a really, really hectic time in life, as I've discussed in other videos. So I thought it'd be quite nice to sort of couple the two things together in this video. Obviously, it's a complete reboot of Batman, as I'm sure people know at this point. Robert Pattinson taking on the role of Batman, and he's against Paul Dano as the Riddler. Now, this film feels heavily inspired by the works of David Fincher and even things like Alfred Hitchcock as well as obviously the previous Batman films that have gone before it. And like I said, the Fincher sort of aspect really appealed to me, as David Fincher is my favourite filmmaker of all time, and this really feels like it could have been lifted straight out of Zodiac or straight out of Seven, and even a little bit of The Game in there as well, which was really nice, and I really liked what Matt Reeves has done with this film. The cast are superb. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman in the supporting roles are absolutely brilliant, as is Andy Serkis and Jeffrey Wright as Alfred and Gordon. It's incredibly well cast. It's fantastically shot. And it's a really compelling story as well. My only slight gripe with it is that it's maybe just a hair too long. Maybe the bits at the end where there's the bits going on in the sort of the climactic battle at the end, maybe drag on just fraction too long for me. And if this movie had come in at sort of maybe 2.5 hours rather than the 2 3/4 or whatever that it is, I think it might have moved just that little bit sort of snappier and felt better for my taste for it, at least. But that's my brief thoughts on the movie. I really liked it. I thought that the direction that Matt Reeves took it in was absolutely fantastic. It was great to see Batman doing some actual detective work, which is not really something that we've seen in the live action Batman ones before. The Christian Bale ones tried to do a little bit of it in The Dark Knight, but they only really scratched the surface of that. Whereas with this one, we see him out on the scenes with Gordon, and working the crime scenes, and then back in the cave with Alfred doing the sort of the relevant sort of after work, if you like. And I really enjoyed how that was portrayed as well. I really liked that this was Batman becoming Batman without doing the origin story as well. We didn't see, the lone gunman in the alleyway shooting Thomas and Martha, and the pearls going flying, and young Bruce looking on in horror, all that sort of stuff that every other Batman filmmaker seems to have done in their iteration. We're year 2 in this story, and he's still finding his feet, but he's a little bit further on than that origin story, and it was an interesting point to pick it up. And I'd say by the end of the film, he's nearer to the Batman that we sort of know and love from sort of, when he's established and he's actively sort of saving crime and working with Robin and Justice Leagues and Superman and all that sort of stuff. I'd say he's nearer that Batman. And it'll be interesting as well when they do the sequel. I think that they'll develop the Bruce Wayne persona more, because he's sort of at the start of this film, he says to Alfred, he doesn't care about Bruce Wayne, doesn't care about the Wayne legacy. What he's doing is his Wayne legacy. Doesn't care that the family money, the billions that the Wayne enterprises have, slowly sort of fizzling away because he's not looking after the interests. And I reckon in the next film, without drastically changing too much, they'll make him grow into the Bruce Wayne persona a bit more. So, little bit of a tangent there. We jumped off and talked about the film, but I would thoroughly recommend getting this when it comes out here on June the 13th in the UK. If you've got it on order on Amazon Italy, you might get it just a little bit before that if you can't wait. And I believe it's available to stream in 4K as well. Now, I've not streamed the 4K, so I can't tell you how it holds up against the disc, but as always, I would imagine that the disc is better because of a stable frame rate. So there we are, folks. That's been my very quick thoughts on the film The Batman and this Italian 4K home media release. I think this is absolutely a brilliant job by Warner Brothers, and would thoroughly recommend picking this up. I think this could even be a sort of like an example disc, if you were showing 4K to somebody to sort of signal how good it is, and how good it can be. This is definitely one of the ones that you could sort of pop in your player and sort of wow your friends and family with. I would really recommend picking this up when you can. So thank you very much for watching. As always, don't forget to leave your comments down below about the film, about the 4K, or anything else you want to have a natter to me about as well. Drop the video a thumbs up if you've liked it, and if you are new to me, this is the first time you're finding me here on this wonderful platform of YouTube, hello, nice to meet you. Please think about subscribing. I'd love to keep you around for future videos so we can get to know each other, and of course it helps the channel to grow as well. Above all else, folks, take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you again really soon. Bye for now. Cheers.